So this is how my machine works. So here I have a series of songs whose notes I've written down, and now I'm going to encode them onto the machine itself. I'll get into the Redstone components later, but I might as well give you a somewhat detailed description of how everything works. So once I click on the copper bulbs do not immediately pass the information into the copper bulb barrel, copper bulb drum, whatever you'd like to call it. They do not pass the information on until I specifically hit encode. So what happens when I click encode is the information that is currently, so the copper bulbs that are currently activated, they act as information. So once I click encode, they then pass that information through a bunch of redstone lines into a large drum, revolving drum of copper bulbs that will store the information. So when I click encode, the information from the copper bulbs goes into a bunch of other copper bulbs that then store the information and don't delete it until I specifically choose to delete the information. But basically, and the encode also does a few other things. So once the information is encoded onto the redstone barrel, the system then advances the entire barrel by 1 block, so it's ready for the next line of information or notes to be encoded into it. At which time there is a very brief moment in which the system also registers the current what's it called? The current note that you have just inputted, because there's a brief moment that the system will read those notes, which I think is frankly quite useful, but if you don't want it, then I'd suggest altering the design slightly. I'll get into the design a little later, but basically it goes from copper bulb, held there, then click encode, and it goes into the drum, into the redstone lamps to display which note is being played and to help you assess that everything's going correctly, as well as also playing a note block at the same time. I do have one note block for every single one, but if I click these two, then you'll see exactly what it's meant to be doing. Now, this is how the redstone works. So upon clicking both of those, I've advanced the system, and because I have it in automatic rotation mode, it constantly rotates the entire drum of copper bulbs. Now the yellow line, well, this green line here, as I'm showing it now, passes the information from the copper bulbs currently being observed, not by observers, mind you, by comparators, into the note box and the redstone lamps to display the information and the notes. The yellow line, however, that transmits the information from the encoding copper bulbs into the drum itself. So if I just turn this off, you'll be able to see everything probably a bit better. So now if I click clear memory, this is another design of it, because frankly it'd just be annoying to have to decode the entire thing manually, or just remove the information or delete the information entirely manually, because who wants that? So as you can see, it is cycling through the entire system of recorded information. I think that's all of it now, so I'll just turn this off. Wait, no, it's still going. Yep, so I'll turn this off now. So here, if you can see, if I turn this on, you can see that a certain line of redstone along the yellow wall has been activated. Now that only encodes when I click encode, which is on the other side of the machine up here. Now that, when I click this, it raises, as I think you might have seen there, it raises those two piston lines, which turn off the copper bulbs that you have currently just turned on, and then encode the information onto the barrel drum of copper bulbs, which is then briefly read by the green wool redstone, and displays it very briefly. I'm hoping that if I just fly through this machine every so often, you'll be able to make it for yourself, because I mean, if you want a video of a detailed way to build this machine, I will do that. However, if not, I mean, if you want a detailed description and tutorial of how to build this machine, I will give it, but that will require you going down in the comments. So if you want a detailed description of how to build this machine, sorry, I keep getting words mixed up. If you want a detailed video of how to actually build this machine of mine, then just comment down in the description. Not the description, write something in the comments. Seriously, I do apologise for getting this muddled up so often. But if you're not too fussed, you can just try building it on your own. So as you can see, that's how the memory operates. It's just a very basic line that can be activated. Yeah, so this is my machine. Oh, and this is another thing that I designed whilst building this. This was part of the original concept of this machine. However, it didn't make it because it was just annoying. But this is a way to transmit, as you can see, a redstone line, a vertical redstone line, through a horizontal redstone line without having to go around it in any way. So the slime blocks, because of how they function, can transmit a redstone pulse, well, a redstone signal through them, which is useful. However, it was not useful as such in this machine, but that's all I think for now. And I do also apologise for the poor quality of this video, as I am on holiday, but that's all for now, so bye!